At the time of recording this video, I am heavily pregnant. I am going to be 37 weeks tomorrow, and we are really getting close to meeting our baby. I just felt like it would be such an appropriate time for me to actually sit down and start sharing with you my pregnancy journey. This video is going to be my trying to conceive journey, and there will be so many videos after this just highlighting my experience with my pregnancy. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the last 10 vlogs that I posted, I was actually already pregnant. I was well into my first trimester and my second trimester as well, but then when I felt like I'm starting to show, I kind of just felt shy from being in front of the camera because I didn't want you guys to see my pregnancy in real time. First thing is the baby details. The baby is currently 36 weeks and 6 days. The baby will be 37 weeks tomorrow. That means that he will be full term, and I said I was trying to say the baby the whole time so you guys don't get the gender, but anyway, it's Build. I'm having a baby boy, and I just tried so hard not to share that part, but anyway, I'm expecting a beautiful baby boy in 3 weeks. He will be full term tomorrow, which just basically means that he can be born from 37 weeks until his expected due date, which is in sometime January. Everybody keeps asking me, when am I due, and something about one exact date. So I'm not into giving people exact dates. And I just feel like part of me sharing my pregnancy journey, there will just be certain information that I think it's too personal for me to share, in as much as I'm sharing all of this, but some details I'm not gonna give away. So yeah, we're expecting the baby in January. He has a very active pattern. His sleep-wake pattern is very distinct. I love feeling his kicks. He's poking me on this side, and other time this side. He wakes me up at night, but I'm in my answered prayer season and I don't mind it so much. He's very heavy on my pelvis, especially when I sit for too long or when I stand for too long, because his head is facing down, getting ready to give birth. The baby is the size of a cabbage. I don't understand how the sizing of the baby works, at least in the third trimester. The first trimester kind of makes sense, the sizing of the baby with the fruits and the vegetables, but now apparently he's the size of a cabbage. I don't understand how that works, and what sized cabbage are we talking? I don't know. He is measuring 2.4 kg, which is close to like a 2.5 kg of a maize meal based off our previous ultrasound that we had a few weeks back. He is very heavy, and I'm so grateful that he is growing. And I just want to mention that I got pregnant when I was 28. I just feel like it's a relevant detail because it may or may not have a correlation with my pregnancy, and I'll be giving birth when I turn 29. The next question is, why am I creating this video? I am somebody who is heavy on documenting your lives because I just feel like it's so important to have those moments. I'm also somebody who's very forgetful, and I just want to reference this video for future self if I ever go through another pregnancy. And then also the fact that I want to connect, if you are going through or have gone through a pregnancy journey or trying to conceive, I want you to feel heard, understood, and that we have a common ground in something. And I feel like the beautiful thing about social media is that it can connect you with people that you can relate with, and I want to be that person for you. I just feel like it's important to connect, with people. I also kind of feel like I may or may not be oversharing certain aspects of this journey, but then at the end of the day, right, it's my story. Computers crash, people die, whatever. We're gonna just move straight into it. I also want to mention that in my trying to conceive journey, we did not have any medical interventions done. I'm just sharing my journey, and I hope that you are receiving it with a pure heart, with good intention. I also just want to put out a disclaimer that if you are in the thick of trying to conceive and this video is going to be very triggering for you, or these videos that I'm going to be uploading in the next few weeks, please do not watch. My intention is not to make you feel bad. In fact, if this video is triggering to you in any way, like, please do not watch. There are other videos that I have posted in the past, and also other videos that I will post in the future. I wish you all the best with your trying to conceive journey. I am throwing those baby dusts at you. My heart is with you, and I wish you nothing but the best. I also just want you to know that this process takes a lot of time, and trust God's timing above all else. Do not lean on your own understanding, because I feel like some of the things that we put ourselves through, we are self-inflicting. That's also the next point that I want to make. That is, what have I learned in this trying to conceive and also my pregnancy journey is living according to God's time. There is a scripture that I want to share with you. Actually, I'll just give you the scripture and then you will go and read it. It's Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6. Do take time and read it. It talks about living according to God's timing. I feel like a lot of the things that we put ourselves through emotionally, we could just wait and be more patient and lean on God and not our own understanding. And I feel like I was trying so hard to be in control of my life, and sometimes you just have to put your faith in God. So yeah, I want to share with you what contraceptives I was using before I got pregnant. I think sharing what contraceptives I was using is directly related to my production, because it does play a role on how this drug may or may not have affected my body. I was using Yaz for several months, and Yaz was so good to me. Yaz is a pill. I know most people are not into using the pill because you have to take it at the exact same time, but then something that I've learned with my experience with taking the pill is that you don't have to take it in that exact hour or that moment, as long as you're taking it within the proximity of the time. Because if you think about how your body naturally works, your hormones do not release at the exact same time. They're probably releasing within like a certain range of time. So yes, pill worked for me. I take it every day at the exact same time, and I used it for several months. It really had great results on my acne, my hormones, and obviously preventing pregnancy. And I was also using Flow app to track my withdrawal. When you are on a birth control, you don't really get the menstrual cycle, but you do get a withdrawal bleed. So I would use Flow to track my withdrawal bleed. It would come like clockwork. Historically, I've never had any problems with getting my period too early or too late. I'd always get it within the range of 28 to 32 days, something like that. Like, I never had any problems with that. So yeah, that's what I was using for a very long time. My husband and I got married in July 2022. It was such a beautiful time, and I've always known that I'm not somebody who wanted to have children immediately in like getting married. I wanted to settle into being married, getting to know my husband, getting to know my family, my extended family that is, and just enjoying being married. Basically, I just felt like if we had a child immediately, at least this is the dialogue I'm having in my head. I'm not actually expressing it with anybody. I felt like it would be too much pressure to balance out being newly married and having a child and, you know, all of that stuff. So I chose to stay on the pill for 1 year into our marriage. And in that 1 year, there were so many things that happened, and I'm so glad that we didn't like jump into having children, like getting to know his family, my mom-in-law passing away, meeting extended family members, and I just needed a moment to just slow down, take a breath. And then I turned 28 a year later, and I decided to get off the pill because at that point I was kind of getting baby fever. This was in July 2023. So I had baby fever. I just felt like I was mature enough in terms of my age. I had gotten to know my husband a little bit more, and I also wanted to just give my body time to like regulate, get off the pill. I feel like what I read, unless I'm wrong, when you get off the pill, the drug gets out of your system like in 30 days, and it takes about 3 months for your egg to mature. This is like Google Dr. Cat. So I just needed my body to regulate, and also just getting into the mental state that I'm not on a pill anymore, and that I am like mentally getting ready to possibly have a baby. So a month later, August 2023, I took the first pregnancy test. Like in my head, I thought that I was gonna get pregnant like immediately. I was just like, you know what, we on. I'm a bit nervous, but you know, like we are doing this. I was really excited. So when the pregnancy test came back negative, like I had recorded the whole peeing on the stick, seeing my reaction, that type of a video. You guys know what I'm talking about. I had recorded that, and when the test came back negative, I was honestly a little bit relieved, because I was like, I don't have to worry about this, like, you know what I mean, like we're still doing it, we're still on, but at least it didn't happen this month. And then in September to October, I took more tests, I took more videos. I actually ended up deleting those pregnancy reaction videos because I just felt like they were embarrassing, but I was taking those videos, and at this point it had been 3 months of us trying and nothing had happened, and I kind of just felt like, oh, okay, that's interesting. The first quarter is out and nothing has happened. I kind of felt like I should lower my expectations. So if there's anything that I can share with you, is that just lower your expectations. I thought that I was going to be in the top 2% of people who get pregnant immediately, and it didn't happen. And then I started doing research on how long it takes for a healthy couple to conceive, and it said 12 months. And at that point I knew that we had 9 months left. I was very optimistic. I started counting down, and I was just feeling like quite positive. And then now we are in November, so now I felt like emotionally I was in the thick of it, because from the moment I got off my pill, taking all of these tests every single month, and trying to understand like what is actually trying to fall pregnant, and all of those things, like I was constantly doing research about this topic, and day in and day out, that's literally all that was on my mind. And I just felt like emotionally I was in the thick of it. And I remember when I got my period, I was so devastated. I cried in the bathroom for a very long time, and then I went outside, and then I cried a lot more with my husband, who was doing the garden at the time, and we had a little session in the middle of the garden where he was just consoling me. My husband was very supportive. My husband didn't put any pressure on me. In fact, no family member put pressure on me except that one person. Anyway, my husband was very supportive. He really consoled me, and we were actually having a conversation about, oh, what if I can't get pregnant, like what's gonna happen. And then I started thinking about adopting, and like I just was just mentally devastated. Like I took the rest of that day off and just soothed myself. The things that I was on my mind were things like I was constantly paying attention to my body. So between your ovulation and the next period where I'd possibly like be pregnant, it's like there's a 2-week window. So in that 2-week window, I would be paying attention to my body. Like I'd get sometimes like my breast being tender, my stomach feeling a little crampy, like things like that, I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, I'm pregnant. Or if I feel something pokey, I'd be like, oh, maybe it's an implantation plan, like something like that. And then I'd be looking also at my ovulation, trying to get the optimal time for us to be active, and then also reading on ovulation and fertility. I think for me what was confusing at that time was that the pregnancy symptoms and the period symptoms were very similar. So when I did kind of feel something and then actually ended up getting my period, I would honestly just be very disappointed. And then I just felt like, yeah, that was the beginning of just being like in the thick of it, right? And then in December, I would say that in this month I started feeling very triggered by people announcing on social media that they are pregnant and they're expecting a baby, or that they have a baby, and people posting mommy content. Like, I'd feel so triggered, you guys, and I started unfollowing that kind of content. So that's why I'm heavy on, if this kind of content is triggering for you, please do not watch. I was in the emotions of it all. December was also such a very busy month because we had moved like to this place. I can't believe it's been an amazing year of living here. It's been such an amazing time. So we were moving from our previous home to here, and I know I was very stressed with other personal issues that I was going through. So my period was about 4 days late, and I just thought, wow, maybe this is it. Maybe like I am actually pregnant. And then I got my period. I was like, ugh, whatever. I got my period. What the hell? We moved into a new home. I was actually having a good time, and I just felt like emotionally drained by the whole thing. And we were ushering into the new year, and I just wanted to like focus on new year, new me, goals, vibes, and I didn't want to have my period like dampen my mood. So yeah, I moved on, and then it was January 2024. So now we are like 6 months into us actively trying, and I decided to email my doctor, who has been prescribing the YES pills for me for a very long time. We had a really good doctor-patient relationship that I could actually just email her. I didn't have to go into the room to consult, because I didn't feel like I was consulting. I was just wanting to ask like, hey doctor, I got off the YES pill, is there anything else that I can do? Because I felt like I was getting some suggestions from somebody that I need to cleanse my womb and do this and do that, and I was like, you know what, let me just ask the doctor. And then she's like, no, all you can do is just take folic acid. And I was like, is that it? Is that it? And I understand, né? Because we were 6 months into it, and I didn't expect my doctor to like jump the gun and give me like out of the world suggestions and recommendations and things like that. So I just understood it and I left it at that. So yeah, I also started doing home remedies in January, you guys. I felt like this home remedies period of trying to conceive was like crazy, because I was on TikTok trying to figure out like, okay, what are other people doing? So that's when I realized that like to want a child, it's something so serious. So I tried okra water. That time I don't even know where they sell the okra, but I found it. I tried okra water, I drank it, and like it didn't work. I was just like, yeah, I wanted these things to TikTok. And then I also learned about ovulation strips, even though I did not buy them. I just felt like if I bought ovulation strips, like it would be putting so much more pressure on me trying to be relaxed, especially around the ovulation window period. And then I was paying attention to my ovulation window. Like, guys, I'd even tell my husband, well, hey, now it's time. And then again, the 2-week wait was such a like, it was such a difficult time. Like, I really did not like going through the two-week wait. I'd almost find like activities and things to do so that I can keep myself distracted. And then I kept telling myself to relax. I remember not enjoying watching other people's trying to conceive videos here on YouTube, because they would obviously have success stories. And then there was this one lady whose video I watched, and I felt like she spoke to me, man. Like, she spoke to me, she touched me, and I don't even know where to find that video, but if I could find that video, I'd link it down. But here's some of the things that she was saying in terms of like lifestyle changes and food recommendations that one can do to kind of help optimize the body. And then now we want to know, like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? So she was saying that in terms of food recommendations, she recommends a plant-based diet. I was like, tick. She says for supplements we must take folic acid, and I was like, done. And then in terms of nuts and seeds, you must eat a lot of those, especially Brazil nuts, because they have selenium, which is a good nut, and it contains a lot of minerals that help to thicken the uterine wall. So it's like Brazil nut is good for the uterus. Did I not go and buy nuts that same day? And then other foods that I bought was brown rice, whole wheat, brown sugar, beans, berries, avocado, Greek, eggs, milk, sardines, olive oil, bananas, sweet potatoes, like food that was gonna help enrich my body and give it the necessary nutrients. And then she also recommended teas, raspberry leaf tea and maca root. I don't know what maca root is. I didn't even buy these teas, but like, this is good information to know. And then she also said to improve blood circulation. Like, I don't know, you want to relax, you know, so you can have the blood flowing, so that things must happen. She said acupuncture, exercise, and sound bathing. At this time I didn't know what sound bathing was, but I did end up doing sound bathing in my pregnancy. But yeah, like, these are some of the things that she was saying. So I was deep in there doing research, guys. Like, I was so invested. And then now it's February 2024, and I kind of felt like, you know what, let me go to the gynae and actually see what the gynae has to say. Remember last month I emailed a doctor, and the doctor was like, no, just take the folic acid, everything's gonna be fine. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not enough information for me. Let me go to somebody who is a specialist in reproduction, so that I can know, like, how are things down there? Like, am I in good standing? Actually, are my fallopian tubes working? Like, what's going on? And I felt like it was such a premature thing to do, but then also at the same time I needed to know that, like, things are working fine for me. So I booked an appointment with a doctor at a hospital, and the consultation was just basically like, we've been trying to get pregnant for 7 months, I feel like it's not happening. She asked me my age, my medical history, all of that stuff. Like, it was just very basic. And we went into the consultation room, and she did like a transvaginal ultrasound to look into my womb. Everything was fine. I don't know if she checked my fallopian tubes. I felt like I wanted her to check my fallopian tubes, but she's like, no, everything's looking fine. You're still young, you must relax. Yo, if somebody told me to relax one more time, I was gonna be so irritated, né? And then also at the same time, there are 2 ladies at work who I would converse with about my trying to conceive journey. I felt like they were easy people for me to talk to, because they would like ask me, like, we see you not gaining weight, like, what's happening? Like, in a good way, in a good place, you know, they were coming from a good place. And I wasn't talking to them at the same time, like in a group setting. It was just simultaneous. So I would confide in them and just share with them that, you know what, we've been trying, it's not happening. Now they would be like, relax, hey guys. But those ladies, they really did help me out with meeting me where I needed to be met emotionally, and supporting me, encouraging me with words. And like, the fact that I could sit and just share my thoughts on the experience really did help me feel better. And spoiler alert, they were like one of the first people that I shared the good news with when I did find out. And also at this time, I was conversing with my mom about like how I've been feeling emotionally. Like, my mom, she's always obviously wanted me to get pregnant since day one. Like, she asked me 30 days into marrying my husband, so have you stopped taking a tinyungu. One would say saying taking tinyungu na show have I stopped contraceptive. Like, she's my mom, she wants to be a grandma. It totally makes sense. So I just felt like Naya had to bring her into like my emotional well-being, because at that point I just felt like I was deteriorating emotionally. And then we went for our Cape Town trip just to relax, you know, and I felt like the timing of our trip was gonna align with me ovulating. So it was gonna be like an ovulation trip type of a thing, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Cape Town, I'm gonna relax, gonna cleanse myself with that seawater. I am gonna come back pregnant. I didn't come back pregnant, and I was okay. Like, Cape Town is amazing. I had an amazing time, and it had been a trip that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but I did have that expectation at the back of my mind, right? So now we're in March 2023. I'm not even bothered. I just feel like just another month of trying to figure this thing out, right? And at this point, I'm starting to think more about like, what are the other options that are not natural for you to conceive? I thought about IVF, IUI, I thought about adopting. I honestly felt embarrassed that I wasn't pregnant at this point, and I was just emotionally like tired, you know what I mean? And I decided to just buy my first pack of Preg Omega. I don't know what possessed me, because all this time I wasn't buying it. So I decided to do that, and then I just wanted to get my mind out of focusing so much on trying to get pregnant. I even remember telling my husband that I feel like I have changed so much. Like, I'm not that Kataza that I used to know that just thought about like random stuff. All that's going through my mind all the time is like trying to get pregnant. It's like I don't know how to go back to the old me. So then in April, I decided that I want to start doing things that are good for my mental health, and focusing a lot on my mental health, like eating healthy, obviously, because that's going to be beneficial for me as well in terms of this journey that I was in. Started doing more hiking, spending time with my husband, praying, going to church. Guys, we started actively going to church now. Like every Sunday we are there praying to the Lord, like, please Jesus, help us. And then I dreamt of a baby. It was so random that I was just like, it's in my head probably. And then yeah, that was the last time I got my period. And then when May came around, I prematurely took a pregnancy test, and it came back positive. And yeah, I've been pregnant since May, my last period being sometime in April. And my goodness, what an emotional journey. For me, it was more of an emotional journey. I was being tested, my patience was being tested, my faith was being tested. It was such a difficult time for me emotionally. So if you're going through this journey, I can relate. I just want you guys to also share like your trying to conceive journeys, like on the description box. If you guys have any questions for me, please ask. Also, please note that I'm only going to answer these questions like 100 videos later when I eventually catch up and it's in real time. But I'll definitely note any of your questions or any of your concerns or anything. Comment on what you found like that was notable in this video that you can relate to. But yeah, that was my experience, that was my journey. And in the next video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I found out I was pregnant and how I told my husband. I'm also going to be posting a video on our first scan and sharing it with my mom, and so many videos that are to come. But yeah, for now, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye. bye.